the Macomb County News Network, MCNN, on the court case of the year. Lots of issues to be decided here in Macomb County, and it seems to be split right down the middle, black versus white. Will Tom Robertson, a Negro, be convicted of raping and beating Mayella Yule, a white girl? I'm standing by outside the courthouse where we expect a verdict to be announced any minute now. As we wait for the verdict, let's recap the story from the newsroom.
Thanks, Katheryn. We'll cut to you as soon as the jury returns with a verdict. This story started back on November 21st at the Yule's house. Depending on who you believe, Tom Robertson is either an innocent victim of white prejudice or an evil Negro that preyed on young, helpless Mayella Yule, beating and attempting to rape her. One thing we know for sure, somebody beat young Mayella Yule pretty savagely. Mr. Robertson is represented by the top defense attorney in Macomb, Atticus Finch. Mr. Finch has been brilliant in front of the court, bringing doubt to whether Tom Robertson was physically even able to commit the crime he's alleged to have committed. He has painted a picture of a long tradition of drunkenness, abuse, and violence on the part of Bob Yule, the victim's father. Mr. Robertson's story is one of seduction from the victim in this case, seduction that he resisted. He maintains that he was lured into the Yule's house under false pretenses from Mayella Yule, where she attempts to seduce him. He fled from the scene because he was scared when Mr. Yule returned home to find the two of them in a compromising position, and he knew that he wouldn't have had the opportunity to explain to her angry white father. He maintains his innocence on both charge of beating her and the charge of attempted rape. Now, the Yule story, told by Macomb County's prosecutor, Gilmer, couldn't be more different. Young Mayella Yule maintains that Tom Robertson viciously and savagely beat her and was attempting to commit rape against her. If not for her father's timely return home, scaring Tom Robertson away, she fears that the defendant would have finished the job. The closing arguments from both lawyers were passionate. Atticus begged to the jury to look past the color of Tom Robertson's skin and find justice in this case. Mr. Gilmer asked for justice as well, justice that would send Tom Robertson to prison where, in his words, he belongs. I understand that the jury has returned with a verdict. Let's go back to Macomb County Courthouse with the MCNN reporter on scene.
You could have heard a pin drop inside the packed courtroom as the jury files back in. The colored-only balcony was filled to capacity with Negroes, as it looks like every white folk in Macomb turned out as well. Despite the crowd, nothing but whispers could be heard when Judge Taylor read the verdict out loud. Guilty on all charges. Guilty, guilty, guilty.
Well, one way or another, looks like Macomb County can put this behind us and move on. Justice has been served. Wait! Unbelievable turn of events. Katheryn, are you still on scene?
Unbelievable is right, Katheryn. An altercation between Mr. Atticus Finch and Bob Yule outside the courthouse ended with Mr. Yule spitting in the defense attorney's face and threatening with witnesses everywhere. Mr. Finch didn't comment. He simply held his kid's hands and walked back towards the home. Before we could even get the equipment put away, the news came in that on the way to detainment after trial, Tom Robertson attempted to escape police custody and was shot 17 times. The injuries were fatal. So, is it really over? Is this the final drama? Has justice really been served? Mr. Underwood with the Macomb Tribune has promised to keep tabs on this story and publish any future developments.
Well, it does leave one with more questions than answers. Has justice really been served down in Macomb tonight? We will now return to your regularly scheduled TV programs that have yet to be invented.